G'day, Steve Morgan, ABT and Fishing Monthly magazines on a Friday afternoon. And admittedly, it was hard getting me into the headspace of a Friday afternoon because only last night we got back from the two-event Barra Tour on the South Queensland dams, Lake Awonga, Lake Mondrian. You would have been following the socials for those. Absolutely epic fishing at Mondrian with the field catching over 90 1 metre plus barramundi in one tournament. Lake Awonga was a little bit harder, but boy, it still fished pretty good. Last couple of years, it took 60, 70 kilos over 3 days to win the event. This year, 170 plus kilos. So Wonga is coming back, probably not as quick as Mondrian, but if you want to get involved in some springtime barra fishing, I've got some tips and some tackle for you a little bit later in this episode. We've hit the ground running since we've come back. Nicole's filming this. She's been busy getting this ready this afternoon. This is the non-boater prize wall for Lake St Clair Grand Final, which is happening in conjunction with the Rapala Bass Australian Open in a few weeks' time. In fact, we leave for it, I think, middle of next week. The Grand Final, that's over $3,000 worth of tackle for the non-boaters that are there. The boaters are going to win the boat. I'm going to put a cutaway of that here. Troy from Min Repairs has got the trolling motor, the Humminbird sounder on it. It is ready and ready to go. Just need some Green Marine batteries in there, and it will be heading down behind the van to that Grand Final as well. So we're unpacking from Barra, we're putting together prize packs and getting it all ready for the Bass Grand Final. Quick note for those that the Bass Grand Final is going to be catered. There'll be a big marquee up. It's all going to have professional catering. Even though Nicole's catering was professional last year with all of our Kmart crockpots, this year it's been done by some people that aren't us. So you'll have a great briefing, a great time, and it's the new Grand Final format, 3 days. First 2 days, the Grand Final non-boater champion gets the wall of prizes, and we have a boaters only half of the field cut, and that third day will decide the winner of that Alloy Craft Mercury Oceanic Trailers boat package. So we're getting ready for that busily now. While I was away on the Barra events, I did see John Costello drive past with his caravan, and little did I know that he had a few of these in the mail to us. So these are his new paddle glides that he launched at the after show. Said he's been doing really well with them, and I think primarily designed as a flathead lure. But man, if you see the number of big gar and long tom, which are sitting in Lake Awonga at the moment, I would not be hesitant at all to throw these as a Barra bait. So for the next tranche of the Barra events up at Lake Tinaroo, and indeed for the Barra Tour on the Mackay Lakes, I'm pretty sure these are going to be packed into my box. Haven't thrown them yet, only just pulled them out of the mailbox this morning. So thanks, John, for those. We'll give you a report in due course when I smash something on them. I wanted to go through just a few outfits that played for us. Nicole and I fished as Team Fishing Monthly in the Barra events, and even though we didn't catch a limit on any of the days of the 5 tournament days, we did catch 4 one day, 1, 1, 1 and 1. So, and we had our kicker fish each day. In fact, when I went through the stats, our average fish that we caught over all the fish that we landed was 1.8 meters. So we were getting the kickers, just not getting the limit fish. And there were 2 main techniques that we used. At Lake Mondrian, all of the fish were live scoped in perspective mode, and all of them on this bait here. It's the Samaki Reddick DS80 in white bait. So I thought if you're going to go up the lakes, you'd be silly not to take one of these, especially if you've got a live scope to do that jerkbaity stuff. As you can see, this one's been flogged to death. That's on 60-pound Wilson fluorocarbon leader, and it's on one of the Venom Target 1 rods. We got these a couple of years ago. Great little rod that's short enough so you can pitch it to those fish that you can see on the live scope. Well-hammered SLX Shimano digital bait caster there, 30-pound Suffolk braid. Man, we gave some fish some stick with these things. These were a great light outfit that we turned inside out heaps of times, but the Venom Target, a great rod. So if you've got a live scope and you want to jerk bait, this works for us. That colour, that size. They all catch fish, but for us, that's a confident one. Lake Awonga was a whole lot of traditional style fishing, so it was finding weed edges and channels where the fish were going through and targeting on more traditional stuff. So it was less live scope, more getting in the area and throwing. And even though we didn't do it as good as Colin Quincy, who won the Open, we still threw the Molex Shad 140 with a couple of upgraded hooks on the bottom. And of course we upgrade the spinner that's on the back for a hook as well. We don't complain where it tears them open, and this one hasn't been torn open yet, but yes, you do tear these baits open. You can super glue them back together again if you want those extra hook points on there. I think over the 3 fish that we caught on these in the tournament days, most of them had at least 1 or 2 trebles and the main hook in them. When they ate them pretty good. So we caught a 104, a 105, a 111, and a 107, I think, on those baits there. This is on the Blade and Tails rod. This is a more economical rod than the Venom Target rods, and on one of the Wilson ATC reels. So I've got that loaded up with 30-pound Suffolks as well. With the swim bait, it's the 55-pound Schneider as the main leader, and I find that just exactly the right. The reel ratio suits my cadence for throwing those. Throw them out as far as you can, let it hit the bottom for only as little as possible, as long as it's got a lot of that black slimy sort of weed on the bottom. So when I'd count it down, I'd often start winding a second before it hit the bottom, give it a pop and roll it just in the fish's faces. But the bollocks guys have a lot of different colours. We happen to win these in the Mondrian prize pack, so they went on there, the black gold one with the chartreuse dip tail, and away you go. Now, the third rod I've got here actually had nothing to do with catching big barras. With all of the millions of little barras stocked in Lake Awonga, I thought, we're going to be able to find some of these little barras and catch a limit of those before dark. And we tried doing that, but all we could catch in that joint were long tom. They were about between 70 centimetres and a metre long. They're quite big freshwater long tom. You can see them on the live scope really well. The difference between a long tom and a barra on the live scope is a lure hits the water, a long tom swims over to it and eats it, whereas the barra will either ignore it or very rarely, if you intercept it, will eat it. So I took one of the bass rods along to try and catch smaller barra, but I actually had some pretty good fun over the practice and the tournament days catching long toms on that one there. That's the 60 millimetre Samaki there. It's been chewed up fair good. Going to be a great bass jerkbait as well, but geez, the long toms liked it, and the little barra didn't. We couldn't find the little barra at the end of the day, even though some teams caught barra between that 40 and 60 centimetre mark. The next year or two, those 60s are going to be 80s and 90s, and Awonga is going to go off. So if you go to the lakes, for me, it's jerkbaits at Mondrian, it's swim baits at Awonga, and if you just want to keep the kids entertained, like me, then it's going to be this one here. And I think that's about it for Tackle Fridays today. We are turning it around quickly. The next Friday, we should be at the Bass Australian Open down at Lake Glenbourne. Not a huge field for that at the moment. Don't know where all the Sydney and Hunter Valley guys are, but a spring bite in Lake Glenbourne with the populations of fish as they are at the moment is going to be epic. It's going to be a weigh-in event. Best 3 bass are going to count each day because that's all our permit allows us to keep in the live well at the moment. And you'll see those results at abt.org.au. The next week, straight after the Open, is the grand final. Give away that boat motor trailer package. All of the results are going to be on abt.org.au. We'll see you guys from the Hunter Valley.